So to kick this thing off, we just want to let everyone know that we need your help this month because we are in the running for this year's People's Choice Podcast Award. And it's based on voting from the public. So if everybody could help us out and do that, all you have to do is go to podcastawards.com, and we'll put a link to this in the notes. And when we publish the notes, we'll have a link to these podcast awards, and maybe I'll put a comment in the Facebook when we're done of of the link. And all you have to do is go on there and register to vote, and then you can go to the leisure category, and that's where we're listed. And if you could vote for us, that would really be appreciated, and it would really help us to bring better episodes, better quality, and continue to be a free show.
Yeah, it definitely helped us get some recognition, which in turn would be better quality shows, like Sean said, and more guests and things like that. The more well known we are, the easier it will be to get guests.
Yeah.
Although we've been getting some really good guests lately, and we are definitely of no shortage of guests. We're
Right.
actually booked out for the rest of this year, going in and even spilling into 2023 a little bit. But yeah, definitely, like Sean said, if you guys could go and help us out by voting, I think that's really cool that it is truly a People's Choice Podcast Award, that it's voted by the people, so the public. And if it mean a whole lot to us if you guys could go and vote for us over in that leisure category.
Yeah, and the important thing is it ends on July 31st. So we just want to make sure everybody knows about it, so everybody has a chance to go and vote. And one thing you have to do to register to vote is put your email. But I registered a couple weeks ago, and I haven't received one single spam email from that yet. So I think they just need it to validate that you're not voting multiple times.
Yeah, and it also says that the at the end of this month, when the voting is done, they erase your email. So it's not something that they keep and then sell later on or anything like that. So it's
And then they also pick a certain percentage of the people that voted to be on their final panel
oh,
based on the narrowed down list to pick the winners. So
okay.
I wonder if I get picked, if I could still do it.
Oh, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. Well, I was going to say one. How would they know? But I guess you got to be honest about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah, so that's the first thing, and we would appreciate everybody voting for us. Just takes a couple minutes to go on there and vote, and it would really help us out.
yeah, yeah. Please do that.
And
And
we had an exciting trip to Reno, Kenny, to do our 100th episode. If anybody's heard the episode or watched the video on YouTube, we did it in the Dragonfly Energy's like media center. They have a studio there, and it was awesome.
yeah, it was such a great time. I mean, it's always a good time when we hang out with those guys. But it was really cool to be in that studio, have somebody working a camera for us and audio for us. Like, it really put us a little bit at ease because all we had to do was kind of sit there and be prepared with the questions. And
Yeah.
we're talking with Sean and Dennis that we know very well. So it was, really just more like hanging out with friends, but at the same time getting a lot of valuable information.
Yeah. And I would encourage everybody to go check out the video because not often does a podcast get shot by a 3-time Emmy award winning cinematographer. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I would say that's very, very rare.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
the photos he took while we were there were, amazing. So,
Yeah, you know what? I thought about that later after we got back home. I was like, oh, we should have had Tyler take some photos of just the two of us
oh,
with our Beyond the
yeah.
Wheel, because he took that awesome photo of the four of us. It's you, me, Dennis, and Sean, and that photo just looks perfect. The light, I think even Julie said, the lighting and everything was perfect. We should have got some photos of just us to use for our social media and promo stuff. And
Yeah.
professional headshots. Well, next time that we're there, I guess.
And the other cool thing was during that episode, we announced the winner of our 100th episode Battleborn Battery giveaway. And congrats to Ryan Hutchinson for winning that.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a great prize. Thanks Battleborn Batteries for that prize. And I don't think, but I wrote Ryan and I asked him if he could get us some maybe photos of him with the battery so that we can share on our Instagram, or maybe photos of what he's putting in. And I believe he's putting it into a camper, like a towable bumper pool is the impression I got. So yeah, awesome. That's so great. Congrats, Ryan. I think you're going to love the battery. I don't know. I tell this to everybody. I don't know anybody that owns a Battleborn battery that doesn't absolutely love it. So
Yeah.
congrats.
I was just thinking, Kenny, I think I put mine in 2018 and
Hmm.
it's already the middle of 2022. And I have never touched those batteries from when I
Same.
put them in. Well, I switched
Yeah.
them from my Cyclone to my Arctic Fox, but other than that, I have done nothing to those
Yeah.
batteries.
I'm kind of in the same boat, and I'll take it one step further. So I did the same thing. I put mine in 2018. Don't touch them. I always feel like I don't talk enough about my Battleborn batteries because they're kind of out of sight and they just work, and you don't think about them type of things. So I always feel like I don't give them as much credit as I should because they're just something that you kind of, what's the term, set it and forget it type of thing. I mean, I installed them, I put them under my stairwell, and that was it. I never messed with them again.
Yeah.
So in that way, and it's hard to take photos and stuff like that, and say, because they're under the stairwell, they're not like, I don't know, they're not very photographic, I guess,
Yeah.
when talking about maybe other products or items and stuff like that. So I do feel like I'm a slacker sometimes when it comes to how much I'm sharing about my Battleborn batteries.
And so, speaking of contests, we have a new giveaway for the month of July,
Yeah, we're on a roll.
and
We
it's going to
are.
start on Tuesday, the 5th.
It'll be Tuesday, July 5th. Yeah, we're going to be giving away 2 1-year passes for Passport America. We should probably say right off the bat that Passport America is not sponsoring this giveaway in any way. They're not part of this giveaway in any way. It's just that Sean and I upgraded our annual passes to lifetime passes because they were running a deal on Passport America. And part of when you purchase an annual pass, they gave us free passes
Yeah.
to give to a family member or a friend. But we thought, well, let's let's put it on the podcast and give it to a listener instead.
Yeah. So we have two of those, and we'll it'll be on the same way we do all of our giveaways, right? On King Sumo.
Yep.
And we'll put a little box on our website that you can go to. And again, when it gets set up for Tuesday, I'll put another comment in this Facebook feed, and you'll be able to enter it from there as well.
Yeah. Or if you're listening now, just be sure to stop by on our website on Tuesday,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to enter right from that little box. And again, we don't ask for too much. It's just an email. We don't spam you. We just need to verify that you're a real person.
Yeah. And you'll get attached to our newsletter,
Yep.
but you can always opt out of that. But we think our newsletters are pretty good. So you might actually enjoy our newsletter. And that's pretty much the only thing we email out from our email list is our newsletter, or like if there's something really special that we want to get out there, we'll send an email, but usually only once a month you'll hear from us.
Yeah, I agree about the newsletter. I wouldn't opt out of that. It's we add a little bit of, usually it's news about ourselves, but if something big is going on, we'll include a little RV news in there too. But usually it's just news about what's going on with the show, where we're going to be, appearances, and things like that. Giveaways. I mean, it's probably the best way to find out about a giveaway is through our newsletter also.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
discounts and all. I mean, it's worth it's once a month. It's worth checking out once a month to see what's going on.
Yeah, and so we both upgraded to lifetime members for Passport America because it's such a good value.
Yeah.
I mean, even that lifetime membership will pay for itself probably in a year of camping.
Very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were doing a deal too. So not only did we get the free passes to give away to a friend or family member, but I believe for the annual pass they knocked off like $100. So what was it, $299 for the
Yeah,
lifetime?
299.
Yeah, and I, got a good hat
Yep.
and the free pass to give away, plus the lifetime membership. And I I agree with Sean. It's on pay for itself in a year. I'm going to use it. I'm about to head up to the Winnebago Rally not too long from now, and I'll be staying at Passport America then. Sean and I are both going to Disney World in October, November. So I'm driving from Arizona to Florida. I'll be staying at a bunch of Passport Americas on that trip too. So yeah, I think easily this will pay for itself in a year.
Yeah. And I think one thing we should mention, like we mention all the time with our giveaways, is that once Kenny sets it up on the website, then we don't really have much to do with it. It's like auto generated winner. It does like a random number generation and picks the winner and just tells you, right, Kenny, who the winner
Yep.
is.
It just lets me know who the winner is and their email, and then I just send out an email to that person and say, "Hey, you're the winner." It's kind of funny when I sent that email out to Ryan. He's like, "I don't know if this is spam or not, but if it's not, this is awesome that I just won a Battleborn battery." And I get it. I guess it could be. I mean, spam people who spam things now, I guess, are pretty creative. But I mean, it is coming from Kenny at BeyondTheWheelPodcast.com. But maybe they change one letter or something like that, and then try to trick somebody. But yeah, I thought it was funny that he wrote, if this isn't spam, this is awesome. This is true. So I just lost our. Okay, it came back. Sorry.
Okay. So next thing we wanted to talk about are some shows that we're going to be at in the
Yeah,
near future, you in the really near future.
very soon. In
Yeah.
fact, if you're listening to this on our on any of the major podcasting platforms, I'm already probably in the air, flying out to Bend, Oregon for the Overland Expo, and this will be my second time at an Overland Expo, and they are very different from RV shows, I would say. So this is Overland Expo. It's going to be in Bend, Oregon. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'll be working in the Winnebago booth. So if you're listening and you're there, come on by and say hi to me. But I want to just say how fun I had working in the Battleborn battery booth at Overland West. So that was my first
Oh,
time
yeah.
at a show, and that was my first experience of an Overland show. And I remember we just talked to Tumbo Tusk not too long ago, and they asked me, what's the difference? Do you think what is the difference between an RV show and an Overland show? And at the time, I honestly couldn't think of it. But now, after giving some time, the biggest difference to me is that an RV show has a lot of campsite equipment for sale. And when I say campsite, I mean like in a campground campsite. Whereas the Overland stuff is more geared. Like you can't buy, not that you can't, but it's hard to find, say, a sewer hose or a surge protector. The overlanding seems to be all about boondocking, all about just being in motion and moving, and not so much of camping in a campground. No, no hookups, no nothing to tie you down type of thing. They're really set up to be like on the go. And I would say that is the big difference is that there is no campground sales going on at the Overland shows. That was the biggest difference to me. And I've said this to Sean. I don't know if this is something to say publicly or not, but these people that go to the Overland seem to have some money. They don't seem to mind spending money at all. Like from what I've been seeing anyway. I mean, I know people at RV shows spend money too, but I feel like they haggle a little bit more, or they're like, "Oh, let me think about it and come back." I've been standing next to people and like checking out things, and somebody would say, "Hey, how much is that radio?" And the guy would be like, $1,500. He's like, "Oh man, that's great. I'll take two." Like no, without a thought in the, there's just like, bam, let's get it. We need it. I want it. I'll buy it, type of thing. But
What would you say the difference, like, is there any difference people wise, like the demographic or anything like that?
yeah, definitely age wise, this is a much younger group. These guys, like, I feel young when I'm at an RV show at 48, but I felt old at the Overland
Oh,
show.
really?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I mean, there are people 50s and 60s, but I don't remember seeing really too many people over the age of 60. And I feel like that's almost sometimes the starting age at the RV shows. Like, much younger crowd. I mean, lots and lots of people in their 20s and 30s walking around, checking out the rigs and checking out equipment and stuff. And even the people working the booths and stuff like that. And I should say that's a difference too. There are no booths. So like when we go to an RV show, everybody's like in a booth and you got your space type of thing. Whereas at the Overland, one, it was really cool that was all outdoors, but because it's all outdoors, people just drive their 4x4 vehicle onto the property, and then whatever they are selling, they are demonstrating on their vehicle. So it's attached to their vehicle, and you're getting demonstrations of it on the vehicle. Nobody actually has a booth, everybody just has a different vehicle. So like when you're walking
Ah,
up and down aisles, you're walking in between, it's almost like a car show, and you get to see really cool outfitted vehicles. It's totally different. I really enjoy RV shows. Sabrina and I love touring RVs and things like that and the community, but this definitely had a different feel to it. And yeah, just different age. Yeah, age, the amount of money, the setup is a lot different, and lack of campground supplies
mm.
really made that different. But yeah, but I got to work in the Battleborn Battery. I'm gonna call it a booth. They had their smallest, no, the biggest little van there. So that was their booth. They were using the biggest little van as their booth area, and they had another guy with them, living the van life was there. I don't remember his name. He was set up there too. So they had the two vans like parked in an L shape, and that made their booth.
Oh, wow.
That's how the booths are kind of set up. You just use vehicles to box yourself out. And it was fun working that booth. And Sean's worked booths too with Battleborn batteries. And I think it's fun for them to talk with customers, potential customers, and existing customers, especially because they get such good. This goes back to the fact that I've never met anybody that owns a Battleborn battery that doesn't love it. We were, of course, getting people walking up, asking questions about the batteries, but then we would also get people that came up and say, "Hey, I have two of your Battleborn batteries in my camper, or in my, well, in this case, in my truck, or my truck camper, and I just got to say just how great it's been to have these Battleborn batteries in my rig." That happened several times throughout the day when I was with those guys. I mean, just over and over again, people were coming up to them and saying, "You guys are the best. I love your Battleborn batteries." And they even were asking them, could you make some type of other product? Like, we would like to buy more products from you guys, more than just batteries. I wish you guys made more than just batteries, because we would buy from you. We would buy other products from you guys, just just based off of how well your customer service is and how well your product is.
Wow.
So it's really fun to see that side of customer service when people aren't coming up with you with a complaint or a question,
Right.
that they're coming up to tell you some praise.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's not often.
yeah, and then I got to say to them, "Well, I don't actually work for Battleborn Batteries, but thanks for the compliment." You actually want to tell this guy, you tell him what you just told me. Let Jason or Eric know. And that's a cool thing too, like what Battleborn Batteries was doing at the show, was that, Eric was there, their tech guy. So like, Eric knows, I feel like Eric knows everything about when it comes to the tech side of things. People would come up to me, Sean, and they'd say, "Well, I got this with this inverter, and I'm trying to charge off of my alternator. Would that work?" And I was like, "You got to talk to him." All I can tell you is that I have two Battleborn batteries in my Class A, and they're fantastic. I'm here just to tell you about my experience with them. I can't answer your tech questions.
And then right after the Pacific Northwest event, you're going to
uh,
the Winnebago Rally.
yep, I'll be in Winnebago and Winnebago Rally in Iowa, Forest City, Iowa, and that for that trip I'll have Sabrina with me. We're taking our RV, so this will be my fifth Winnebago Rally. I try not to miss them. So every,
And those are in Iowa, right?
yeah, yep. It's just the grand. This is the Grand National Rally, so it's once a year, and it's in Forest City. It's right at the factory, so you can get factory tours. They're going to have, well, we'll be talking about it a little later, but they're going to have the ERV there this year. But they also have several other RVs that you can tour and stuff like that. And they always have really good live entertainment. They have pop-up bars, like you don't know what time the bar's on open or start, but it's like an inflatable bar and it just randomly pops up throughout the week. I do morning bike rides with the Fit RV, which is always fun. We take it like some people would say, "Oh, Iowa's boring. It's flat. It's not much to see." But I love it. I love those morning bike rides with those guys, and we go out on the roads. It's Iowa. It's quiet, so you can ride on the street with bikes. And there's usually about 20 of us all riding our bikes, and they allow e-bikes now. They let some of the older. Well, I ride an e-bike. I don't have to put myself in that category, but the older people, you don't have to be as fit as the Fit RV to be able to go on the
Enjoy the
morning
ride.
bike rides. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this time of year is when all the corn is starting to grow in the fields. So we go past like cornfields. We go up to a state park called Pilot Knob, and then it's a pretty steep ride. That's why I need the e-bike nowadays, and it gets you to the top. And then there's like a lookout tower. They also have vendors and the seminars. It's a really fun show. Sabrina and I really have a good time every year. They do something called End of Row Party, and every row is set up like with different states, and that state has somebody representing. I don't know how these states pull this off and the communication throughout the year, but they make food and drinks that their states are famous for.
Ah.
So Tennessee usually has like some type of whiskey or is it bourbon? I forget which, but and then uh, um, they'll have a food from that state that they're really known for. And I got to tell you, Iowa has really good corn. The Iowa State row, that corn is the best corn on the cob I've ever had in my life. I look forward to having some this year again. That's how good it is. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You're planning on being at the Hershey show in September,
Yep,
right?
for at least a day or two. Yep, go to
Okay.
that.
Once,
And
once
then, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say once we figure out which days you're there for, we'll have to put it in the newsletter.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we'll put it
again,
in the
we
newsletter.
need that newsletter. So
Yep. And then I'll go to the Overland East
I can't wait
rally
for you to go there.
in Virginia.
Yeah,
So,
I want to hear your experience of it and see how much you agree and disagree with me.
yeah, yeah,
Where
I'm
where
excited to go after your experience there.
where's that one at, Sean? Where is the East at? I know it's in Virginia. Is it Arlington? Is that what it's called?
Addington, Virginia.
Addington. Okay.
Yeah,
But you said it's not too far from you, so that works out really well.
yeah, just a couple hour drive.
Yeah. And that's how it was for the West. For me, it was just a couple hour drive because it was in Flagstaff. I think I got there in about under 4 hours. So it just made sense to run up there and check it out. I think you'll have fun. And
Yeah,
then after that, then you and I will see each other in Disney World.
yep, Fort Wilderness.
We got a busy year.
Busy year. Yep.
Yeah, really
Yeah,
busy
very
year.
busy.
I'll also be at the I'm doing the balloon festival for the first time this
Oh,
year
that's right.
with
Yep.
Fantasy RV Tours. That's at the end of September, so slip that in there too. It's
Yep.
a lot of shows this year.
Yeah. Yeah,
A lot
for
of
sure.
shows. A lot of traveling and a lot of spending high dollars on gas.
Yeah, which brings us to the first news item that we wanted to talk about,
Yep.
and that is the RV prices are making it difficult for the average consumer to afford getting into RVing. And then you add the gas prices onto that, and it's really hard to get into
It,
RVing right now.
yeah, it's a double whammy. But you wrote a really good article. I really enjoyed the article that you wrote. So if you don't know, on our website we have a blog section, and Sean has been really hard at work lately, writing blogs for the website, for the Beyond the Wheel website. And so you wrote an article, and to find that, you just go to our homepage, and then at the top, what do you call those little boxes, Sean?
I
Are they
don't
named
know, but it
something?
says blogs up there at the top and you just click on it.
Yeah, and I'll give you a list of all the blogs that he's been writing. And I really enjoyed your article about how the RV industry is kind of pricing out the middle class in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, prices are rising for RVs are rising at an average of, I think it's probably around 40% a year. And or 40% for every, I looked at it over 7 year periods. And so over 7 years, the price goes up an average of about 40%, but the household income in those same time periods only increased by 10%.
Wow.
So if you just do the math, I mean, it's becoming unaffordable very fast. And I think the last couple of years have really affected that because a lot of people have been turning to RVing and the outdoors. And so that's driven prices up even more. So yeah, I don't think it's, I mean, it's great that these companies are making money and are, selling and the RV industry is picking up. I think all aspects of it, campgrounds, everything, but it's going to be bad in the long run because people aren't going to be able to afford it.
Yeah, even the entry level, what used to be entry level as far as like the bumper pool travel trailers have seen a great increase in price. It used to be that you could get into, I think your son has been shopping for an RV
Yep.
recently, and he must be experiencing this right now. But like, you used to be able to get into a bumper pool for 10,000, 12,000. I don't, those RVs that used to be 10 to 12 are now like 18 to 22
Yeah. Yeah. I
for
looked at travel trailers and they've gone up an average of 30 to 40% over the time period. So yeah, it's really not, I think it's good in the short term. It's not sustainable in the long term, but I guess time will tell. If people keep buying, the prices will keep going up.
Yeah, and the used market isn't any better. It used to be that, well, I'll just buy a used one and save a little bit. The used ones have been selling for new prices,
Yeah.
unless you go
Yeah.
really used.
And I think with the, people take out loans to buy them, but now with the interest rates going up,
Yeah.
um, that's going to make it even more expensive. Your monthly payment might not be very much, but over the life of the loan, you're paying an arm and a leg.
Yeah, because it's
Uh,
not like a car payment. You can stretch a RV loan 15, you can almost
20 years.
mortgage them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's more like a mortgage than a vehicle payment. So
Yeah.
it sounds good when you look at the numbers. We're like, oh yeah, this doesn't really cost us all that much per month. But when you think about the fact that that's a depreciating item,
Yeah.
and now you're paying this amount a month for 20 years. By the end of your 20 years, you paid 4 times what it was originally worth, and now it's even worth even less because it depreciated all these years.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think the what they say, like in the first 2 to 3 years, they lose 25% of their value.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you wouldn't be
So
anywhere near paying for 25% of it in 3 years if you take out a 20-year loan.
yeah, and 20% with the prices increasing, as expensive as they are now, 20% is a good chunk of change.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really feel kind of, I don't know how I feel about it. I think the RV industry really needs to take a look at it and start planning for how they're going to keep letting, middle and lower middle class people enjoy this lifestyle.
Yeah, because it really is a shame because it's such a great. I mean, it's what people are figuring out. It's such a great way to travel. It's a great way to see the country. It's a great way to spend time with your family. And with the increase of pricing of the rigs, it's very difficult to get into. So
Yeah.
it almost seems unfair the way the
Mhm.
prices have been going up. Um, and
Yeah. And then
I was
go
going to
ahead.
say, and I unfortunately, I don't have an answer. Like, I understand supply chain issues and the way the market works. You got demand and supply, and right now supply is low, demand is high, so of course they're going to be up. But I always feel like when things start to reverse, they never come down the same way they went up, which which is going to hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't help that, there's only a couple of major companies that own most of the RV market.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's, there's not, yeah, it's just, I think it makes it even more challenging for the prices to come down.
Yeah, and
Yeah. And
then like
then fuel.
fuel. Yeah, and same thing with fuel. We're really high on fuel. It has leveled off a little bit. I don't think we've had an increase in 2 or 3 weeks, but it's not coming down either. It's not, well, not in my area anyway. I haven't noticed. I think the national average has come down a little bit, but we are the same price as today as we were 3 weeks ago. We haven't seen any decrease just yet.
Yeah. And it's still going up here in where I live in Virginia. It's at, I looked yesterday, it was 5.65 a
For your
gallon for diesel.
And we're 510 for 87 octane where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's one of those things too. When fuel comes down, it doesn't come down to where it was. It just comes down, and everybody feels good about it being lower than what it was maybe last week. But it's still $3 or $4 when a couple of months ago it was $2.
Yeah. And we were gonna go to the FMCA rally
Yeah, I was just
in
gonna say
Nebraska, and I never used to think about the fuel cost,
never.
but now it's like a huge consideration in what trips we're gonna take. So we ended up having both of us ended up having to cancel because it's just so expensive to get there from where we live.
Yeah, and that's part of it too. Is you're coming from Virginia, I'm coming from Arizona, so it's two separate locations that we're traveling. So for the two of us to go to the rally and then get back home again, we were talking a couple $1,000s and just travel for us. And we loved our time at the FMCA rally. We thought it was fantastic. We're very disappointed that we're not making it to Perry's. It's not Perrysburg. I'm sorry, Lincoln,
Lincoln.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just couldn't, just can't do it. Just can't. Yeah, the fuel is a little too much. I mean, I get like 7.5 miles per gallon in my Class
Yeah.
A. It's not great. um, yeah, but if prices come back down, the next FMCA rally, I think maybe that one is in Perrysburg.
Perry, Georgia.
Perry, Georgia. So
Yeah.
maybe fuel prices coming down, and hopefully we can make that one again, because we really did appreciate everything FMCA did for us, where we were able to set up outside of the vendor hall and put on live shows. It was really a good event for us. We had
Yeah.
a lot of fun. We met a lot of nice people. We made tons of contacts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The people there were all pretty friendly people.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's in a good mood. It's that community, and Sean and I really appreciate the RV community, and we enjoy hanging out and hearing people's stories. Um, so we definitely want to continue going to shows. We just can't spend $3,000 to get to them
Yeah.
and back home again. Yeah, I wonder how full timers. Sean and I both full time for a long time. I wonder if this is changing the way full timers traveled. I know it would not have for Sabrina and I, because we always traveled for her work. We didn't really have much say in it, but I bet you we would have probably stopped our little side gig, like little trips in between her work, just because of fuel. We probably park at a campground for a little bit longer and save the money in fuel. I mean, I would imagine other people are doing the same. I don't know. I've been seeing in Facebook groups and stuff like that, people are canceling their long distance trips and just kind of exchanging them for shorter trips. And I think that's probably a smart move right now until the prices come back down a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing all East Coast travel this year. We're doing New Hampshire, New York for
Mm.
one trip, and then going down to Tennessee for another trip, and then going down to Fort Wilderness in November. Just
I
because we can't go, we wanted to go to Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, but that would have been super expensive.
yeah, I'm I'm still traveling a lot. At the same time that I'm complaining about these prices, but the it's only because it's Disney World. Sabrina and I are not canceling our Disney World trip, but
Yeah, because
that's a
you've canceled what, 2 years in a
two
row
years in a
now?
row, and we were
Yeah.
like, we're not canceling the third time. We're just gonna have to suck it up and make this trip.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
it's a really big trip for us to. But it's not till November. Sabrina and I are very good at planning and saving money, so we've literally we pay for the trip before we arrive. So we're just stacking money to the side and
And a lot
just
could change with the fuel prices between now and
yeah.
November.
I really hope so. That we're kind of banking on that too. That the prices won't be going up anymore. We're hoping that they actually come down a little bit. And we're where we live is an expensive area for gas, so we'll actually probably use like a gas buddy or something and see if we can spot some good prices along the way and make sure we top off when the fuel is low and just buy enough when the fuel is high, type of thing
Yeah.
along the route. Another tip, though, that I saw or read, or maybe we talked to somebody, Sean, was that people are renting RVs and having, even people that own them, are renting an RV and having it delivered to a campsite, and
Oh,
then just
that's a clever
driving,
idea.
yeah, and then just driving their car to the campsite. They rented the RV; it's already in its place, so they didn't pay to tow it, and they're just enjoying the campground that way, and then driving their car back home. Which like my car does 42 miles per gallon because it's a hybrid. So it's a pretty smart way to save a couple bucks. Yeah, you're paying for the rental, but nothing compared to what you would be paying in fuel to pull it. So there's a lot of rental places that deliver. We just talked to Jordan from Echo One Adventures. I know the listeners haven't heard it yet, but that's one of the things he does. He's got two rentals, and we asked him, does people come and pick up, or do you deliver? And he said, well, they'll work it both ways. If they need it delivered, they'll deliver it for them. I'm sure there must be a delivery charge, but I bet you the delivery charge is less than
Yeah.
traveling out of state, pulling something,
Yep.
out of state and driving, 1,000 miles or something like that. Like something like he was talking about the Albuquerque Balloon Festival, that it's a really popular event for him and for people to rent their RVs, and they're right there in Albuquerque. So it's a great way to save a couple bucks that way, is maybe just to rent one and have it in place already.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but that's a clever idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a really good idea. I know rentals aren't usually cheap either, but I guess it makes more sense if you don't already own an RV. So if you don't own one, rent one, have it delivered, and just show up in your car.
Or if it was like us, like if I was gonna take a trip out to California or to Utah to the national parks out there, I would probably rent at this point rather than drive all the way out there.
Yeah, I wonder if it would work out. Sabrina's very picky, but I wonder if it would work out if we rented an RV for the Disney trip instead of driving in our Class A to Florida from here. But Sabrina's really picky about staying in hotels even or other people's stuff. She likes having our own stuff.
And they do deliver right there to the campground. So
Yeah, we've seen them. Yep,
yeah.
yep. They deliver right to the campground. It's something to think about. I'll think
Yeah.
about it. And another way to beat fuel prices, maybe not today, but in the future, is as we mentioned it earlier, is that Winnebago all electric EV concept right now. And you saw it in person, right, Sean?
I did at the Tampa Super Show. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, yeah. But it just did a 1,300-mile trip. Um, I guess they're using it to kind of travel around and show it off a little bit, but it doesn't have. I'm not allowed to say anything bad about Winnebago. I'm a Winnebago ambassador, but it doesn't have great range, right? I mean, for van lifers anyway, because van lifers are always on the move. But this, you got to keep in mind, it is a concept. I would imagine by the time it actually hit the market, the range is going to be greatly increased. So right now the range is like 125 miles. I bet you that. I bet you by the time it hits market, it easily doubles.
Yeah, I think it
Um,
can probably double right now based on the improving technology.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say so too. But it was a pretty cool. So this was in Car and Driver. They did a 1,300-mile trip, 1,380 miles, average driving speed 53 miles an hour, total drive time 26 hours, total charging cost. So $275 to go 1,300 miles.
Oh,
And
that's pretty good.
that's really good, especially since I'm sure they were doing like the DC fast charging for that, the level 2, like Electrify America and stuff like that. And that's not usually a deal. You're usually paying like 40 to 49 cents per kilowatt hour when you use those DC fast charges. So the fact that they were fast charging and still only paid 275, it actually says here it was a 60% cost saving over if they brought a Class B gas powered Class B.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, and it says
and
they only spent what? Just about an hour charging.
well, I think that is a typo.
Okay.
So Sabrina and I have an EV. We have the Mach E,
Right.
and I don't see that possible. That
Maybe it's
hour,
one maybe it's 1 hour each time they charged.
I think that is what it. Yeah, I think they averaged an hour per charge is the way that was supposed to read, but that's not what they said. Yeah. And this is surprising too for the size of the vehicle. It is, it's fully decked out. It's got a kitchen and your refrigerator and your sleeping quarters and everything. It was getting 1.58 miles per kilowatt, which isn't bad. That's really good for the type of vehicle it is, the size of the vehicle. People with the Ford Lightning right now, the F-150 Lightning, are reporting that they're getting about 2 miles per kilowatt hour is what they're averaging. So the fact that they're getting 1.58 out of a moving home is
Yeah, that's really
really
good.
good. Yeah, it's really good. Our Mach-E, we average about 3.5 to 3.8 is usually right around where it's been falling in the Mach-E, but it's much smaller, it's lower to the ground, it's more aerodynamic. And that's what hurts our that's what hurts the EVs seems to be the most is aerodynamics, how slippery it is in the air. The weight doesn't seem to matter too much. It matters, but not as much as pushing that air. Yeah, I just got to use a new term that I learned from that last flight when the pilot was like, "Hey, we're lagging a little behind here, but we're going to start pushing some air and we'll make it up." I've never heard that term before, and now I just used it in the EVs. But
Well, it's
yeah,
pretty
so
cool that they actually took it out and had the media be able to document it
yeah,
and show what an all electric, and it truly is all electric.
all electric. Yep,
Yeah.
everything runs off of electric. The drive, the house part, everything. I'm excited about it, but I'm a pretty. I mean, I really like the idea of electric vehicles. I mean, I've owned hybrids since 2009. We now own the Mach-E. I have a Ford Lightning on reserve. I I'm probably the wrong person to talk about it because I'm so gung ho about electric vehicles. But I mean, it went to West Virginia, all on this trip: West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan. They took it to national parks, Chicago, and Minnesota. Like they went on a good trip with this, and it was successful. So I'm
And this
excited
was the
about it.
first time that, don't they say, it's the first known trip over 1,000 miles by an all electric RV.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it does show progress.
It shows progress. I love that it's I'm a Winnebago ambassador, so I love that it's a Winnebago doing it. I'm glad that Winnebago's looking in this direction because this would be something that Sabrina and I would want to purchase in the future. Like after we're after we retire our Class A, we would love to have an all electric RV. I don't know when that would be. Like it's got to be feasible. Like I said, it's got to have more of a range than 125 miles for us. And I would think for most people, and I think it will. I have no doubt. Well, we know the people working on it. Jamie Sorensen, super smart.
Super
And
smart. Yeah.
yeah, Ajish, that they'll figure it out. Like they are crazy smart people. They'll pull it off. But yeah, I'm really excited about the future of electrification in RVing, even if it's like, they maybe if even if it wasn't full electric and they just like found out what worked and what didn't work and they pulled some of the great ideas out of the all electric vehicle and implemented them into a house. Like I would love for just the house part of my Class A to be all electric stovetop, electric heat, and remove the generator and remove the propane tank. I mean, I think that would be a pretty big forward step also.
Yeah, talk about quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quiet, not bothering anybody, and sitting out at your campfire with no noise at all.
Yeah.
Even just the hum of maybe an AC unit that's running off of some lithium batteries. And
And
well, you
then
do that
like
now with
if
your
you're
Battleborn.
what, say that one more time, Kenny?
You do that now though with your Battleborn batteries. You can run your AC and stuff like that with
Yep.
your. So you
Yeah.
already have that experience. I do not.
But I saw a propane stove and all that
Mm.
stuff. So and heat. But the if anybody hasn't heard or seen, the CEO of Battleborn Batteries, Dragonfly Energy, Dennis, did a TEDx talk where he talked about the other side of electrification, and that is still moving away from coal and fossil fuels to um, actual storage capacity for electricity when using, sun or solar or wind to power things. So, the combination of those two, I th- I think we're getting close to, all be able to truly be all electric and fossil fuel free, for powering this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that TEDx was really good. I liked how he was explaining, and it's funny when those guys talk. I feel like Dennis and Sean are both very inspirational whenever we have a conversation with them. But I remember when we left Reno, and he was telling us about having the storage battery storage at your house. I remember walking away and like, Dennis is trying to become like the next GE of our century, I think.
Yeah.
Being everybody, have a Dragonfly slash Battleborn battery system in every home across America where you can store power throughout the day, use it at night, and kind of, really start to wean off of the fossil fuels and really invest more into solar, wind. Yeah, I'm excited for Battleborn batteries too.
Yeah, and
I
we'll put
think
a link to that TED talk in our show notes too, so people that haven't heard it can check it out. But it was really good.
it was a really good talk. Yeah, Dennis again, super smart guy.
Yeah, beyond smart.
Beyond super smart. Yeah, super genius.
Yeah.
Dennis qualifies as super genius. But yeah, it's a great TED talk. I think it's like 15 minutes long, and I will say it's worth checking out just for the comments alone.
Yeah.
I really like some of the comments, and I'll say that too because a lot of the comments were not kind,
Yeah.
but they were interesting, and some of them were so out of left field that I'm still scratching my head over what they were trying to talk and say. So
Yeah. Yeah,
check.
you never know what you're gonna get on social media.
Yeah, yeah, it can be tough sometimes.
And this wasn't even a like a Dragonfly thing. It was on the
Yeah, yeah,
TED YouTube page.
yeah. It's on
Yeah.
Ted's YouTube page. Yeah, yeah. So if you look up, well, Sean said, like Sean said, that we're going to put some links in the show notes that you can find it. But if you're listening right now on Facebook and you want to check it out after this, it was it's on TED and it's called Beyond the Electric Car, and it's with Dennis Ferris from Dragonfly Energy. Really good video, really good comments. Go check
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
out.
Boy,
um,
I think that's all of our stuff, Kenny. Seems
I think,
awful quick.
yeah. Well, we're pretty good at talking, Sean, because it's been 50 some minutes already.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was that long. But we do have
But
some cool stuff coming up.
yeah,
Very cool interviews. We've done a few of them that we'll list, but um boy, I'm excited about all of them coming out.
yeah, yeah. So we got Robert Henderson. He's coming on. He's got a new book coming out called Living Life 1 Mile at a Time. We talk about the inspiration of that book. And he was somebody that we found from the FMCA rally. So again, we've really had a good time at that rally. Really fun. And then the guest after that is Tembo Tusk, and we found them from FMCA rally.
Yep.
It was their first FMCA rally, just as it was our first FMCA rally. They're actually more well known in the overlanding community because I also saw them over at Overland West, and they make a couple different products. But we're talking to them about their Scottle, which is a really cool portable cooking. I almost want to call it a hot plate, but it's not really. That's not what you
It's a
would call it.
unique, I would say it's a unique cooking solution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
really cool.
Very robust, very durable. So we have them on. It's a father and son business, and we talk to them. We got Wholesale Warranties coming back on the show. They're a new sponsor of ours, and what's great about that Wholesale Warranties is that Jim from Wholesale Warranties, when he's talking to us and about the benefits, he doesn't sound like he is overselling anything. I feel like he had a great way of presenting all the information and leaving it up to us or the listener, what to do with that information. I never felt like he was pushy at all about everybody. He never said everybody needs a warranty or an extended warranty for their RV. I think he did a really good job of explaining all the benefits of a warranty and then leaving it up to the listener. So
Yeah, and I
excited
just
about.
actually finished listening to that one today. And what I liked is that it seems like that company is there. Of course, they're a business, so they have to make money, but it seems like their primary goal is education
Yeah,
about what are warranties, what are good warranties, what are bad warranties, you know.
and they're very flexible. As far as like engineering, or maybe engineering is not the right word, but I'm going to use it. Engineering a plan that's fits what your needs are. It's not
Yeah.
one blanket plan. It's not like everybody buys the same plan. You talk to them, find out how you RV, what you RV in, what type of coverage are you looking for, and they build you a plan that fits your needs.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that really set them apart from other warranty companies. And I love this saying is just that they are more age lenient than any what is it's 20 years, I think they'll
20
cover.
years, he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can have an RV that's 20 years old and they'll still cover it.
Uh,
So that's a really good episode coming up. We got Lava Linens coming up, and we just actually recorded that interview with Mary, who is the co-founder, this week. And at the end of it, after we signed off, actually, and after Mary was off, I said to Sean, like off air, I said, this is why I really enjoy our podcast, because I think most people would think, well, it's a towel. How much
yeah.
could go into creating a towel? And as you will hear when you hear this episode, a lot goes into research and development and testing and colors and fabrics and they put little loops on their towels to make it easier for like a lot goes into the thought of this towel.
Yeah. And the thing I liked about that interview and that I hope everybody else gets out of it when we release this one is that they they're really focused on using only sustainable materials and no chemicals or anything like that. So it it kind of fits with the RV community,
Very much so.
outdoors community, that they really took a long time to find something that was sustainable.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. Yep, I think they're very eco friendly, and we like that too. I know we try to support eco friendly businesses. And then we have Truck House on, which is a really good episode. Again, all of our episodes are really good, but again, really fun because we've never had them on before, and we got to learn about they're in the overlanding community. They build a. I have a hard time explaining this because it's not a truck camper, but it goes on the back of a Toyota
Tacoma.
Tacoma. But they removed the bed of the Tacoma, so it's going right to the chassis, and it's not even the stock chassis anymore because of everything they change on this truck. It's not even really a Tacoma anymore. They turn it into like a half-ton truck by the time they're done with it, or maybe even more than that. and they're a company out in Reno, and the truck is just beautiful looking. I saw it out at Overland West, and it just caught my eye. And we actually recorded that in the Reno studio over at Battleborn Battery. So again, we had some help with the audio and video and everything like that, and that was just a really fun interview because we got to do that live with the two owners of the company, like sitting there in person. And it's rare that Sean and I get to do that.
And two young guys,
Very young. Well,
very young
that's
guys.
the over. They are they're the average age, Sean, for Overland. Wait till you get over to Overland East. You're gonna feel
Yeah,
old.
two young, hardworking guys, really.
Very hardworking, very smart. Again, what was the and kind of risk taking because of the not the die that they had to create, some type of tooling they had to
Yeah.
create, and it's apparently very, very expensive. You only get one shot at it, and if you screw it up, you're out a few $100,000 or something like that. Like pretty brave, pretty braver than me, that's for sure.
And
And
then
then
Echo One Adventures. That was, yeah, we already mentioned him just a few minutes ago with the rental things, but he's a installer, kind of like Panels Up Solar that we had on. He works a lot with Battleborn batteries, and he is also mobile, so he'll
yeah,
come to campsites within a certain range or to people's houses and do the installations there.
yeah, I really like the mobile aspect of it. He's out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, so that episode will be coming out. I'm not gonna say shortly, but probably not, maybe not till September. But again, really good episode, really nice guy. Seems to be very focused on customer service and the community. Wants to get people out there enjoying their RVs, off grid or grid. Just yeah, really really nice. I call him a kid because he's younger than
Young.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably not a kid. He's probably in his 20s, but he's way more mature than I was when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I really don't know how old Jordan is. He might be in his 30s.
I think he
Maybe
said he
just
was
looks young.
26.
Is he? Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
there you
so.
go. Yeah. He's just more mature than I was back then, I guess. Makes him seem a little older, but yeah, so that's not even all the episodes. We have even more people lined up. We even got more episodes recorded. It's crazy right now just how we are on a roll, Sean.
Yep. Yep.
But we want to just thank Battleborn Batteries and Wholesale Warranties for sponsoring our show. Because of their support, we're able to continue to bring you these shows with these great guests. So please check out these great companies. Let them know that you appreciate them supporting the Beyond the Wheel podcast. If you write to them, if you talk to them, just say, hey, I heard from you from Beyond the Wheel podcast. And, I appreciate you guys supporting their podcast because I enjoy listening to them.
Yeah. Well said, Kenny. Well
Thank you,
said.
Sean.
I just want to remind everybody to go vote for us on the podcast awards. And again, I'll put a comment down below in this Facebook Live, and then I'll also, we'll have it in all of our show notes wherever the podcast is released, so you can go there and vote for us. And it really helps the podcast a lot to be able to have people voting for us and standing behind us.
Yep, your vote matters.
Yep, no fraud in this election. All right, everybody, safe travels, and we'll see you again real soon.
Take care, everybody.